Morning guys and gals, Froggy here. Finally getting around to installing a new power steering pump on my C5 Corvette. It's been making noises for a while, and pretty much decided, had a couple of people advise me that it's probably the power steering pump. So we're going to start by taking off the drive belt and the alternator just to give us a little bit of room in there. You take a 15mm socket and a breaker bar, and you're going to push towards the center of the car. You're going to loosen up the belt, and then you're just going to take your hand and move the belt off there, and then that will provide a lot of slack and the belt will come off. I need two hands to do this. Okay, that's pretty easy. Goes in that way, belt comes off, remove your tool, and then the belt is loose now. You don't have to take it all the way off, it fell down there, that's alright. I just want to work on the other side, so I'm going to leave the belt where it is right there. We're going to be unplugging the alternator, so we're going to disconnect the battery just to be safe. Take the positive terminal off. Unplug the alternator there, and then take the hot lead off. That's a 13mm there. Then we go around to the front side. There's two 15mm bolts right there. They're both the same, so you don't have to worry about that. And then the alternator is out. There are two hoses on the reservoir. You have to empty the reservoir. I just sucked it out with a baster there. And there's going to be some drips when you take these hoses off. So stuff a rag underneath there. There's a small hose towards the front and then a large hose towards the back. And both of them have little clamps on them, so just squeeze the clamps and take those two hoses off. Okay guys and gals, it turned out it was quite a challenge to get this reservoir off. I'm going to tell you how I did it. And if there's a better way, I sure wish you would tell me about it. But first off, there's two hoses that go to the bottom. The first small hose was easy to get off. It attaches right there. I think you got my light is on it. The big hose, I tried to get at it. It's really buried in there deep, and the angle is bad. So I gave up on that. And what I did was, there's two bolts that hold the bracket that holds the reservoir. So I took this one out, the one that's closest to the center of the engine. They're both the same. And then I backed out this other one as far as I could, and that gave me a little room to get into the bottom clamp on this short hose. I got to the bottom clamp, and you're probably going to have to replace these clamps. I bent it up quite a bit. Yeah, maybe get a new section of hose too. Anyway, I got it off on the bottom, and then once I got it off on the bottom, then I could lift this whole thing out the rest of the way and get this bolt clear. This bolt not only holds the reservoir, but it also holds this bracket, which is the bracket for the alternator and the power steering pump. So I hope you followed that. That's how I got this reservoir off. Now let me get you guys and gals caught up here. I've got the reservoir off, and that's had two bolts that hold this bracket on. There's two more. There's one right there behind the pulley, but you can get to it with an open hand, and there's one up here behind the pulley, but again you can get to it with an open end. Now as I unthread these, I thread them out, the whole bracket is moving. It's loose now, so everything's moving. It's going to move forward. I may or may not have to loosen up the bracket that holds the ABS. Let's wait and see. I'm not going to do it yet. once I get these two out, if I get them out enough so that this whole bracket comes loose, then all I've got is one hose that goes down to the rack. And if I get this out, I think I'll have enough room to get to that hose. So just to get you caught up there. This is the one pulley that was attached down low right there on that shiny end. Let me show you. Right there. I decided to take that pulley off just to give myself some more room around that hose that has to come off. This is me under the car getting that last hose. I used a 16mm crow's foot on about an 18-inch extension, 3/8 extension, and then, well, I was going to use a breaker bar on the end of it, but actually I got it with about a 12-inch ratchet. Now, when it comes loose, it's like a little cracking sound, like a breaking loose sound, and then it's like very, very loose. There's no drag on it at all when you loosen it up. So I got that from underneath, and I think that works out okay. I just jacked up one side of the car, and this is the last piece, so let me get that down and then I'll pull it out. See it right at the end of this long shiny extension, right there, and it's like a sleeve nut. That's my word, a sleeve nut. It's a long sleeve, and the pipe goes up through the sleeve about a couple inches to the end. Okay, Froggy got it out. So let me give you a couple of tips while they're fresh in my mind about getting it out. I would go to the bottom, jack the car up and go to the bottom to try and get that last high pressure hose that goes to the steering rack. I don't think you can get on it from the top, and it was actually a pretty clean shot from the bottom with an extension and a crow's foot. Now, if I had this all to do over again, I think I would take the throttle body off, because this controller for the throttle body was in the way most of the time. And let's see what else. I did take it off without breaking the pulley. Now, some guys, and you're free to comment on the thread on the video. Some guys say to just break this pulley off and then put a new pulley on, because if you break it off, then you can actually detach the power steering pump from the bracket. And I guess you probably don't have to take the bracket off at all. But anyway, I did it this way. And let's look inside here. The high pressure hose that goes to the rack, put a golf tee or a rubber plug or something in there to make sure no dirt gets in that. I had a cover on it, but it fell off, but it's full right to the top. I can see fluid, so I don't think there's any dirt in it. I'm going to cover it up anyway. Make sure your belt is clean of any power steering fluid when you put the belt on. Spray it with some brake cleaner. Once you got that hose covered up, actually it'd be a good time to spray all this area here, get it nice and clean. Just to keep, I like to keep the engine clean, because then I can see leaks. If it's a new leak or it's an old leak, I always fix them. I hate leaks, but if your engine's clean and dry, or at least dry, then you can see leaks when they start, and then you can fix them. So that's about it on the extraction. I'd say it took me about 4 hours, and I'm not that fast, but also you want to keep in mind that I'm shooting video of all this and I'm thinking about shots, and actually, it's the first time I did a power steering pump on a C5 Corvette, so I'm figuring out how to do it as I go along. I read a couple of write-ups on the Corvette forum about how to do it, but everybody does them a little bit different, really. I did not have to move the ABS bracket at all. And now those 2 bolts that are still on here, we call them captured bolts. What that means is, see, there's one right there. I can't get it all the way out because the pulley's in the way. And there's one other one right there. So those 2. And they're different sizes. So keep track. They're different lengths and different sizes, so keep track. And that's about it. I am going to go to the parts store and get hose and some clamps to put it back together. And it's about 3:30, so I'm going to probably not do any more on it today. I'll probably finish it up tomorrow. So I think I will make this video into 2 parts. Part 1 is removing the power steering pump, and part 2 is installing a power steering pump. Okay? So if this helps you out, give me a thumbs up or a like, and if you want more from Froggy, subscribe to my channel. I'll put a little area there for you to click on to subscribe if you want to, and thanks for watching my video, guys and gals. I'll see you later. Bye.